Today's topic is radioactivity from the lesson Nuclear Physics. So, firstly I am giving in brief the definition of radioactivity. Radioactivity is a nuclear phenomenon. You will find some of the materials are giving out light, giving out radiations spontaneously without any excitation. By themselves they are giving radiations, like radium. It glows in night also. You would have seen this. This spontaneous emissions of radiations, some kind of radiations from some nuclei, one example is radium, is termed as radioactivity. So how they are active? This is a very important question. So let me recall you the term isotopes. We have atoms with same atomic numbers, and when atomic numbers are same, they will have same chemical properties, and they have their different mass numbers. You can find such kind of atoms in even very small nuclei also, small elements also, with having small mass number, like hydrogen. Hydrogen has 3 isotopes. One is your 1H1, another is your 1H2, and then you have 1H3, hydrogen, deuterium, and tritium. You will find that most of the hydrogen atoms are hydrogen itself. They are 99.98%. And deuterium, it is in very less amount, and they are unstable also. They decay. There will be some activity with this one because they are not present in abundance. And here hydrogen is present in abundance. They will be not changing, or radiation will not be coming from hydrogen. They will be stable, it seems, because of their abundance presence in our atmosphere. Similarly, we have so many elements, hundreds of elements are there, and they have, each of them, they have several isotopes. Chlorine has 2 isotopes. Oxygen has also isotopes. Nitrogen has different isotopes. So various elements have their isotopes, and out of those isotopes only 1 or 2 are very stable, and rest of them are unstable, means they changes to other. How they change? How this activity takes place? All these questions were firstly discovered and answered by Henry Becquerel. Henry Becquerel accidentally placed uranium potassium sulfate wrapped in a black piece of paper in an almirah, and there he had kept from before photographic plate wrapped in silver enclosure. And then when he took out photographic plate from there after several hours, after 2-3 days, he found that the photographic plate is exposed. It has black lines. So he was confirmed that some kind of radiations are coming from your uranium potassium sulfate, and which has exposed the photographic plate. And he called this spontaneous emission of radiation without any excitation. It was only kept there. He called that radiation as radioactivity. This emission was spontaneous by itself, and this emission is called radioactivity. Now, Uh, Rutherford and Soddy gave laws regarding this radioactivity. He said that the charges before this radioactivity and after this radioactivity will be same. Means they said that the charges are conserved. There took place some phenomenon, nuclear phenomenon. Before that you had something. After this nuclear phenomenon, after this emission of radiation, you get another element, another nucleus. But what you find that the charges in previous nucleus, that are your parent nucleus, is same as the charges on daughter nucleus. Now second law given by Rutherford and Soddy is the mass of parent nucleus and the mass of the daughter nuclei formed in this radioactive disintegration will be same. Mass also will be conserved. So these two laws were given by Rutherford and Soddy, that mass and charge will remain conserved. Then after, Soddy and Fajon, they gave displacement laws regarding radio activity. Soddy and Fajon gave displacement laws regarding radioactivity. According to them, the three radiations coming out in radioactivity were alpha ray, gamma ray and beta ray. And perhaps they have used conservation laws like law of conservation of kinetic energy, conservation of momentum and charge to mass ratio. Perhaps by using all those things, they have confirmed that in alpha decay there is a decrease in atomic number by 2 and there is decrease of mass number by 4. And then they confirm that in a beta decay there is no change in mass number. Mass number remains same and there is a decrease or increase. Now look here, there are two cases, whether the atomic number will be decreased or it will be increased by 1 in a beta decay. So you have two kind of beta decay, beta plus decay and beta minus decay. And in gamma radiations decay, in radioactive decay in which gamma radiations are coming out, there is no change in mass number and atomic number. So these were the Soddy and Fajon displacement laws. Now you will one thing you will notice that as you have studied binding energy per nucleon versus mass number graph, and this help in understanding a kind of nuclear activity that is called fission or fusion reaction, because in those descriptions binding energy per nucleon was very important. So the atoms with binding energy per nucleon is smaller than the range 8 mega electron volt. They can combine or they can break to give energy. This is called fission or fusion. But here I am discussing another kind of nuclear activity, nuclear reactions, in which this is not much important. Binding energy per nucleon is not much important. All atoms with smaller mass or larger mass can show radioactivity. So you have unstable tritium here, S3. it is unstable. It changes into another nuclei, and so it shows radioactivity. Here you have oxygen. Here you have oxygen 14. One is more stable. One is found allwhere in our atmosphere surrounding. And another is unstable because it is not found in abundance. So it would be changing by this process to another nucleus. Similarly, you have nitrogen with atomic number 7. So there is one isotope of nitrogen having mass number 13. This is unstable. This changes into oxygen by this radioactivity. So radioactivity is a kind of nuclear activity in which binding energy per nucleon is not so important. Now you can see that you have 3 kinds of radioactive decay. That the first kind of radioactivity is alpha decay. In alpha decay, the parent nuclei give out 2 atomic number and 4 mass number as per Soddy and Fajon displacement law. So if you have a parent nucleus with atomic number Z, mass number A, and it is decaying alpha particle. So alpha particle with atomic number 2 and mass number 4, helium nucleus. This you can consider because it is having atomic number 2, mass number 4. And alpha particle is your positively charged, means electron is emitted from helium atom. So what is this? Doubly ionized helium atom is alpha particle. A doubly ionized helium atom is called alpha particle. So when a alpha particle is emitted, then you find that a new nucleus is formed. Now X is not there. A totally new kind of nucleus is formed. And with its atomic number is decreased by 2 and mass number is decreased by 4. So this is as per Soddy and Fajon displacement law, but it is also obeying your Rutherford and Soddy law that mass remains same before this radioactivity. The mass is A, and after radioactivity, if you add all the masses, you will find the mass is same. Similarly, atomic number, it is also same. So as per Rutherford and Soddy radioactivity law, this equation is perfect. Now, one example of alpha decay, you have uranium, parent nucleus with atomic number 92, mass number 238. When it decays alpha particle, when there is radioactivity with it is giving out alpha particle, means He24 doubly ionized helium atom, then its atomic number is reduced. It is changed into, this element is totally changed into another element, thorium. With its chemical property is changed because its atomic number is changed. Here atomic number is reduced by 2 and mass number is reduced by 4, 234. And in this process of disintegration, you will find that some sort of energy is also released. Actually, this daughter nuclei is in motion. the daughter nuclei, and so is having kinetic energy. And this motion, this collision changes this kinetic energy into heat energy, and this Q is that energy. So what is this Q called? This is called disintegration energy. Here Q is disintegration energy. Also it is called Q factor. So this is how you can represent any alpha decay. Here you must write Q factor also. Similarly, you have beta decay. In beta decay, of a radioactive nucleus, mass number remains same. But atomic number is changed. Either it is increased by 1 or it is decreased by 1. And one more thing I did not mention in alpha decay, that alpha decay generally occurs in all the nuclei having atomic mass greater than 210. So this was all about your alpha decay, and here you have beta decay. You have two kind of beta decay, because in one scheme your atomic number is increasing by 1, and in other scheme atomic number is decreasing by 1. So two kind of beta decay. So in beta minus decay, here you have beta minus decay. Name is beta minus, but actually here proton number is increased by 1. Beta is minus, but proton number is increased by 1. In beta minus decay, proton number is increased by 1 and mass number remains unchanged. Mass number does not change. Here you have one example. Phosphorus having atomic number 15 has mass number 32, and it is your beta minus decay. Beta minus decay. So atomic number of proton will be increased by 1. Here you can see, and mass number remains unchanged. So when atomic number is increased by 1, and here beta minus, this is also called electron. This E minus is called, E minus is electron. Nu minus, nu bar, this is called antineutrino. So when one electron is emitted, there is emitted one antineutrino. This is your anti antineutrino. So this is one scheme how beta decay takes place. Another kind of beta decay is beta plus decay. Here name suggests beta plus, but actually here one proton is decreased in this kind of beta decay scheme. So when number of protons is decreased by 1, and mass number remains same, then the decay is called beta plus decay. So one example I can take of sodium. Sodium 11 with its mass number 22 is changed into neon 10. Here beta plus decay, you can see decay scheme is beta plus and its number of protons is decreased by 1. So it is changing into neon and here it is beta plus, so beta plus decay. And when you have a positron, then a neutrino comes out. This is your neutrino. The same thing also is written as Na1122. It is plus, obviously some sort of energy also comes out. So nitrogen is changing into neon with same mass number. Atomic number is decreased by 1. And this beta decay, this is your positron E plus neutrino plus some energy. Here E plus is your positron, nu is your neutrino. You can pronunciate it nu. And this is your neutrino. So here if you investigate, then Rutherford-Soddy's scheme of mass conservation and charge conservation is obeyed. Charge also remains same. Here you have charge decreased by 1 positive charge, and here a positron with charge equal to charge on 1 proton is increased and its mass number is equal to mass of an electron. And what is this neutrino? Neutrino is having mass negligible in comparison to the mass of an electron. And also it is not having positive charge or negative charge. It has another kind of charge, and it has charge due to its spin. It is not having Coulombic charge. And charge is only due to spin of neutrinos. Now, you cannot find, it is totally undetectable. Neutrinos are undetectable because due to its negligible mass, there is not any gravitational force acting and not even any Coulombic force acting. So it is, the neutrinos are undetectable due to it is not experiencing any gravitational force or your Coulombic force. So it passes undeviated. It can penetrate whole of our earth and it pass, and you cannot detect it. Now let us see the beta decay scheme and alpha decay scheme. So in this graph here, let us study this graph. Here y-axis is representing the number of neutrons and x-axis representing number of protons. Now when number of proton to number of neutron, this ratio is same, 1, means n is equal to p, and this is for then slope will be 45 degree. For initial this number of protons you have for this part, when number of proton is nearly equal to 20, for up to calcium this ratio is same, you can see this ratio is same, but for heavier mass this ratio is not same and the slope of the graph is increased. Here in this graph you can see the magical black line. Here you have with stable nucleus. In this magical line, all the nucleus which are present here are stable. In this magical black line, nuclei are stable. Now all the nuclei which is above this black line is having greater slope, so will be having greater number of neutrons as comparison to number of protons. They have greater number of neutrons, and for stability they will try to fall in this magical black line for their stability. All the nucleus here in the above line, it has greater number of neutron than number of proton. And for stability, because you can see you have a magical black line and stability line. For nucleus to be more stable, it should fall here from above, and from below it should also go above. So for the nucleus which is above this magical line, they have greater number of neutrons. So for making this ratio proportional equal, the neutrons will try to change in protons, and That is the case of a beta decay when number of protons will be increased. And when number of protons is increased, that decay is called beta negative decay. For negative decay, protons are increased. So for making slope near to this magical line slope, this number of protons will try to change in number of protons, and for this all blue color you have beta minus decay. Here you have beta minus decay. And the nucleus which are below this magical line, they will also try to be more stable, and for stability they will try to increase their number of neutrons so that their slope will be increased by increasing number of neutrons. And how will they increase the number of neutrons? They will change the protons into neutrons for this this your orange color pattern. The number of proton will be changed to number of, here you have neutrons change into protons for coming in magical black line. And below in orange, let me take orange color so that, okay, here all the nucleons below this black color magical line. Black color is your stable nucleus line. So they have smaller neutron to proton ratio, and so they will try to change some proton into neutron. Here number of proton will be reduced, and when a number of proton is reduced, when number of protons is reduced, P is changed into neutron. So when number of proton is reduced, this kind of decay is, I have discussed just, it is beta positive decay. This is your beta positive. So there are two kind of beta decay. So in beta positive, in beta plus, you have just seen a proton is changed into neutron. So proton is reduced though it is beta positive. So here you should take beta positive, means positron, plus a neutrino comes out. You can also write this as neutron plus positron, means electron positive plus neutrino. This is in your beta plus decay. Similarly, in beta minus decay, scheme is minus, but here number of proton is increased even. How it will be increased? So actually a neutron is changed into proton. Number of proton increased, but it is beta minus scheme. Electron comes out, and along with electron there is anti-neutrino over there. So this can also be written as and then is changed into, and obviously some energy is evolved, some energy is evolved. This neutron is changed into proton plus beta minus. This should be taken as electron, E minus. This is a magical line, this black color line, because all the nucleus that reside on this black color line, all the nucleus for which neutron to proton ratio falls on this magical line are stable one. And so why this line is called magical line? You can see that this black color line ends at this point, where number of protons, atomic number, falls on 82. So 82 is the last stable nuclei. This 82 is the atomic number of lead, Pb. And similar to this, your magical line, you have magical numbers. These magical numbers are actually even numbers. Even number like 2, 4, 6, 8. All these are most stable. Some elements with atomic number 2, 8, 20, 28, 50. And reverse this one, 82. All these are very stable. And you can find that 82 is the last stable, naturally stable nuclei, and this is for lead, Pb. So Pb with atomic number 82, mass number 206 is most stable. So any element which disintegrate in series finally end to Pb only. These even numbers with atomic number 2, atomic number 4, boron, atomic number 6, carbon, and atomic number 8, oxygen. All these are very stable. And this is why we find in abundance these carbon particles, this oxygen gas in our surrounding. They are most stable one. At the same time, we have some numbers, odd numbers. They are least stable. They are unstable. Like when you start from 1, so these numbers are 1, 3, 5, 7. They are least stable. We have isotopes of hydrogen like deuterium, tritium. These are unstable. Lithium, this is unstable. Beryllium and even nitrogen. Nitrogen changes into oxygen. These are unstable. Now we have some series of this disintegrating nucleus. That here we have one series that starts from uranium, you can see, and uranium 92 to 38 once decay, and here this is alpha decay. In alpha decay we know that atomic number is reduced by 2 and mass number is reduced by 4. So 92 changes into 90 and mass number becomes 234. And it undergoes a series of disintegration. It does not stop here. So you can see here is a beta minus decay. In beta minus we have increase of one proton. So in protactinium you can see Pa. Here atomic number is increased by 1 and mass number remains same. So this series go and this series goes up to your Pb, lead, and this is the end product. Now you cannot disintegrate Pb because it is a stable nucleus. Pb 82, 206 atomic mass number is stable. It cannot be further disintegrated. Whereas you have one Pb with mass number 210, it is still radioactive. It disintegrates. So we find that so many series are there. Not only uranium series, there are so many series and all have their end products lead 206 because naturally it is the stable one. Radioactively it cannot be further disintegrated. Now gamma radioactive decay. Here I have drawn the diagram of a nucleus, and you can see that a nucleus is also having stationary orbits, as you find that in an atom. An atom has stationary orbits, and momentum, angular momentum and energy of that stationary orbit in an atom is conserved, constant. But the energy of stationary orbit of an atom is of few electron volts only. Now, In a nucleus, we have similar stationary orbits with momentum perhaps conserved. And the energy difference in these stationary orbits in a nucleus is, however, of mega electron volt. Energy difference, mega electron volt. So this is one main difference between the stationary orbit of an atom and stationary orbit of a nucleus. They have their energy difference only few electron volt, and here in stationary orbits of a nucleus you have energy difference of mega electron volt. Now when any alpha emission or beta emission takes place, when there is alpha or beta decay, any nucleon get excited. And goes to a bigger orbit, larger orbit. And then spontaneously itself it is de-excited, giving some photon, and it comes down, falls down in lower orbit. After this, after alpha and beta decay, after getting excited, the nucleon get de-excited spontaneously. Itself giving photons. And it falls back to lower orbit itself. And these photons are gamma rays. So